Hello friends. It is Monday afternoon, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'm Tia Woodward and I'm Stamp with Tia. So welcome to my regularly scheduled Monday Facebook Live. So glad to have you here. Today I'm making a card that I challenged myself a little bit with. I wanted to use some different colors. Sometimes I'll take a look at my cardstock selection, which you can see over here, and I'll see that I haven't used a color in a while, and I'll challenge myself to do that. In this case, I decided to use Magenta Madness and realized, wow, we're not very many months away from that color retiring. It retires at the end of April. So if you like this color, you might need to stock up on it. I've used the cardstock and I've used the ink in this card. And I've mixed it with some basic gray and some smoky slate. So I'll be showing that to you here in just a minute. Let's see, what can I tell you about? Well, we're a full week in to the mini catalog, the January through June mini catalog. We're a week in on Celebration, and people love it. People love everything about this. So that's been very exciting. Lots of chatter constantly about this, and I'm like, literally sometimes now I have to put my phone away. Hi, Sonia. Sometimes I have to put my phone away at night because I'm just starting to get tired because there's just so much chatter and so much going on with all of this. So, but not until I don't put my phone away until I've taken care of all of you. So I promise that. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I spent a good part of my weekend preparing party packs. I have a private party next weekend. I've mentioned this before that I like to do the parties with people where people invite their friends and we do some crafting together. Right now we're doing them mostly via Zoom because it's safer for everybody. In this case, the hostess is in Oklahoma and the majority of the people that are attending the party are in Oregon. So it works out perfect. And so I prepare the party packs. I'll kind of give you an indication of what they look like. I can't show you the projects because our hostess likes to be surprised, but I can show you what the packs go out looking like. Anyway, I send a little folder that's got lots of information regarding Stampin' Up! Or about the promotions that are taking place. There's usually a wish list in there. There's a flyer in here about Paper Pumpkin and a flyer in here about the Kits program. And that, you know, just stuff, lots of stuff. But in case somebody's not familiar with Stampin' Up, it's always good to send one of these. And I like to send mine. I make my little folder out of a piece of designer series paper, and that way I can tell everybody that after they've gone through everything in here and they've pulled out what they want, they can use this and do some crafting with it. So how nice is that? And I send them my business card and I send them the hostess code for the party that they're attending and tell them a little bit in there about when they have to have their orders placed by. And then I put my kits, I pre-cut 3 projects. In this case, they're all cards. And I put them in bags. And then I color code the bags. Let's see if I can do this here. I've got 2 of each in here because I make them up ahead of time and then I make them up at the same time as everybody else. So I color code them with tags and everybody knows which kit that we're going to open up and work on. So we don't open up everything and spread everything out. We literally, it's nice and organized and we craft everything at the same time. So I would tell them this one and they would and they would pull this out. And what I don't have here in front of me is I send everybody one of those crafting placemats, and we craft together. Got a phone call coming in, and I'm trying to make it out. There we go. It's out of my screen now. Anyway, so I send that. I pre-tie all the bows that are part of the projects. I send dimensionals. I send, let's see, maybe I can, no, this is a card pack. Anyway, I send lots of goodies. If you're somebody, or if it's people that haven't purchased from me before, I may send the mini catalog. Like right now, I would send the mini catalog and the celebration flyer. So, I mean, it's quite a nice little pack that goes out. And then I do demonstrations, we do games, we do, there's prizes. There is, my brain just went blank. There's lots of inspiration, and there's just a lot of friendship building, and crafting brings people together and it makes them happy. And that's why we're here, right? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you about what a party pack is, because some people might feel like it's overwhelming to think about, and it's really not. It's a very organized situation. So, and then when it's safe for people to start getting back together, we'll do that. And if somebody prefers to do it via Zoom, we can do that. We can really customize this situation to each and every person. So, there you go. There's my spiel on that. I think it's just about time to get started on this card. I just realized I closed my catalog. So I keep these open so that I can tell you what page something is on if I'm using it from the catalog. And I closed one of the catalogs. So let me find it really quick so that I can, there we go. Page 40. And I will turn my camera down. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to, oh, today's the last day to order. Doggone it. I don't know if people are calling me, but it doesn't look like it's anything important. Today's the last day to order. Today is the 10th. Yes, today's the last day to order the January paper pumpkin. And tomorrow will be the first day to order the February paper pumpkin. Just so you know, we have been made aware that there are some delays. They still expect everyone to be able to get their, so this is a Valentine kit, and they still expect everyone to be able to get it in time to be able to make their Valentines and send them off. But there are some elements that go in the boxes that are a little bit delayed at the moment. So it may be a few days later than usual that they send them out. I have ordered one, and I am hoping that some of my customers have ordered them, because one of my Thursday nights, that's normally a mystery stamping night, I'm going to turn in one night a month, one Thursday night per month, I'm going to turn into a kit making night. And hopefully we can all make kits together. But we'll see how that goes. This is my first month wanting to do that. And of course, this is the first month that the elements are being delayed. So there's that. But we're all rolling with it. And if we've learned nothing else in the last year, it's how to roll with it, right? Okay. I've got everything put aside. I think I can turn my camera down now. I think I can. So let's do that. And that looks like a blank table, doesn't it? And we're nice and a little bit crooked. There we go. All right, let's do this. So here's the card we're making today. This features the new Amazing Thanks dies. This features the new, or not the new, but the art gallery bundle. So it's an art gallery stamp set and die set. And then I've used an embossing folder back here too, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was called Painted, I think it's called Painted Texture. So like I said, I challenged myself to use some brighter colors than I've been using recently, wanted to use up some stuff. So here is the art gallery stamp set, as well as the art gallery dies. These are in the annual catalog. Doesn't matter where they're from, but they're from the annual catalog. Here are the amazing Thanks dies. And these are in the new mini catalog. And that's what I've used here to make this two-tone Thanks that's got the shadow on it. So I can't wait to show you how I did that. Hi, Jean. Hello, hello. And then here is that Painted Texture embossing folder. So let's get started. So I've really mixed some of the older stuff and some of the newer stuff, and especially when I say some of the older stuff, this Magenta Madness, it's a 2-year in color. It started in 2020, I believe, and it retires in April, at the end of April of 2022. So if you like this color of cardstock, we do have other colors of bright pink, but if this is the one that just warms your heart, or the ink, which is the lighter of these two colors here, you might want to jump on the bandwagon and start stocking up on your ink. All right, enough about that. Let's make a card. So I'm going to set some of these things aside. So our card base is the Magenta Madness. There's actually quite a few pieces in this card. And I feel like, let's see, these are for die cuts. I think this is for a stamp cut. Let me double check here. Yep, that's for my inside. This is for my outside. This is for my outside. Okay, so here's my pieces. And we are going to start by, stamping. And then I'll bring over the cut and emboss machine and I will die cut those out. I will die cut out these words that are on the front right here. And I will emboss this piece of paper. We'll do all that at the same time, but we'll start by stamping. So set all this aside, pull over my piercing mat. You've heard me say many times that I like to stamp on my piercing mat. It gives me just the right texture and just the right amount of, I don't know, what would you call it? It doesn't really squish. I mean, it's fairly firm, but it's not so firm that if there's an imperfection in the stamp that it shows through. So I am starting with the biggest blossom in the art gallery. So this, you're going to stamp 2 times for this blossom. You're going to stamp the base and then you're going to stamp the highlights. So I'm stamping my base in Magenta Madness. How gorgeous is that? That's like my favorite color of lipstick right there. And then I'm going to clean off my stamp, and all of my dies happen to fit on the same size block today, so I didn't pre-mount all of them. Then I'm going to, and these look red because photopolymer really can't accept any of your purple or pink or red dye. They wash off and it does not transfer over. I could turn around and use this on a light yellow or something and that wouldn't show at all. But it does stain the photopolymer. So here's my highlight stamp. And for this I'm going to use Melon Mambo, which is a little darker. And my, there we go. And I'm not going to put ink on it yet. And you're going to see that there is an alignment here that allows, and I use the bottom for the alignment. And because it's photopolymer and I'm using clear blocks, I can see that fairly clearly. And look at that. Suddenly have dimension in my flower. So that flower is ready to cut out, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my stem. Jean, are you going to be able to make it to Spokane? Are the roads clear? I hope so. All right. So for this stem, I've chosen, because I'm using some grays in this card front, I chose one of my greens that's got a gray tinge to it. I have another one that's a little bit darker, but I felt like it was too dark and it looked like an accident against the basic gray, the darker gray that's on here. So I'm going with this soft succulent. And these are two different dies, so I don't need to stamp them next to each other. And I'll be able to cut them out at the same time. Isn't that a pretty color? I think it's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite greens. I did not know that until it came out. Okay, so those are ready to be die cut. I'm going to be embossing this piece, but before I want to clean this off, put this away. Before I emboss it, I want to add a little bit of color because I'm giving it this, where did it go? This texture right here. You can see this texture. I want it to have even a little bit more depth than just the texture. I want to give it some ink on here. It's just some kind of splotchy. And I'm just going to, I'm not even going to do it fancy. I'm not planning anything. I just want it to have some depth. And then I'm going to come around my edges and just inconsistently add a little bit of color. Just, it gives it a little bit of richness. And you can't make a mistake doing this. And you'll see why in just a second. That blending brush, by the way, we sell these in a 3-pack. And I just turn around and I wash mine out with warm water right after this live is done. And I dry it off on a paper towel and then I set it up so that it dries like this. And I'm able to reuse and reuse and reuse these. So that's my spiel on the blending brushes. Okay, so now this is ready to be embossed. These are ready to be die cut. And these are ready to be die cut. Okay, before I do that, let me set these aside like this. I want to show you that I have applied adhesive sheeting to the back of my Magenta Madness piece. And what this is going to do, so this comes in a package that looks like this. There are 12 of these big sheets. I'm down to my last one. There are 12 of these big sheets, and you cut it down to the size that you need. My die for this particular piece is this big. So I didn't want to, waste it by over applying anything. So I cut my scrap down to the size that I needed and then put the adhesive sheet on the back. What that's going to do is after I run this through the emboss machine, I'm going to be able to peel this off and it turns it into a sticker. And then this is going to layer right on top of the shadow piece, and that's how I get that effect. You like that? Easy peasy. All right, I'm going to set this aside. Set my, and that's really all the stamping that we're doing. Now it's all about cutting, embossing, and assembling. So, and my blog will have all the cutting dimensions on it. The blog has been started. The cutting dimensions have not all been added yet. So give me a couple of hours to get that done. So I'm going to use this 3D embossing folder. I'm using the Stampin' Up. This is the large cut and emboss machine. The mini, some of these folders don't fit through. There are some smaller folders that do fit through the mini, but this bigger one does not. So that's why I'm using the bigger machine today. You're going to use plate number 1. Put your paper in your folder. Use plate number 4. Make sure the fold of your folder goes in first. It just allows it to ride through more smoothly. There might be a pop at the end. Sometimes there it is. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Now let's pull that out and take a peek, and look at that. Look at that texture. Isn't that awesome? That was about as easy as it gets for creating that. Okay. Now I'm going to keep plate number 1. I'm going to add plate number 2, just like that. Then I've got 2 plate number 3s. And technically, let's see, before I do this, I need the dies that align with this. So I'm going to need that die, and I'm going to need this die. I use Post-it tape to secure my dies in place. Hi, Carol. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it so much. I'm trying so hard to grow my audience. Hi, Andy. All right, so there is my die on the, I'm going to take a little sip of water here real quick. I have a problem with wood smoke, and right now there is a tremendous amount of it because of how cold it is. People are burning wood, which I understand and I love the smell of, but it affects my asthma. Warm water helps, and I'm drinking warm water. Okay, so I've got my art gallery stamps. I've stamped on here twice, and I've got my art gallery, or my, I think they're artfully something dies. It's a bundle in the annual catalog. Okay, so as I mentioned at the beginning, if you are a lover of Magenta Madness, Magenta Madness is retiring at the end of April. So if you better check your stock of paper and ink and make sure that, yeah, it's a little bit crooked, but it'll be fine. And I actually kind of like it because it looks a little bit more swept to one side. It makes it look a little bit more live. Anyway, Magenta Madness is retiring. So here's our flower. I can set this aside. Actually, I'm going to hang on to those 2 pieces of tape just in case. Because sometimes these dies can shift around, and pre-cut these two pieces of scrap pretty small. So I'm putting these back on my magnetic sheets. I'm putting my magnetic sheet right back in my stamp set. That's how I do it. Not everybody does it the same. All right, so the last thing that we need to use for the cut and emboss machine for is the Artfully Thanks. I'm just using the word thanks. Out of the basic gray, I'm using that for the shadow, and then I'm using the Magenta Madness for the detail that will be on the front. And you see how this looks like it wants to go off a little bit? I'm going to go ahead and use a piece of this Post-it tape to make sure that it's positioned so that I don't accidentally go off. I had a slightly bigger scrap of the basic gray, but I didn't have to put an adhesive sheet on the back, so I wasn't as worried about waste. And, yeah, sorry for the two big pops. Okay, I think we just finished with the cut and emboss machine. Let's take a, oh, look at that. I actually cut off the tail, the very tip of my S. See, I shouldn't have been so... Okay, it's all right. I have another piece of the basic gray cut right here. Just a little sample card, or a little, it's actually a pre-cut matte card, but that's okay. Whatever I have it for, it doesn't matter. It's here. And we're going to recut that. That's what I get. I was all worried about the one with the adhesive sheet, and I didn't give proper attention to the... Sometimes if you push down on it, you can skip that second pop. Okay, I am done with these two dies. Whew, that one wanted to come right out. Let's see, let's be a little bit more careful here. Well, the good news is it's popping right out of the die. There it is. Isn't that pretty? I love this font. Love, love, love. I hope, I have no way of knowing, but I really hope they carry it over. I'm just trying to get my little pieces out of the, here it is. Take my pick tool. Boom, boom. I hope that this carries over because I love this die set. Probably just hexed myself, but that's okay. All right, throwing my scraps away, moving my cut and emboss machine. So if you joined late, I spent some time at the beginning kind of showing what goes into a party pack. If you're ever interested in having a craft party with some of your friends, please let me know. I would love to set you up for a very fun time. All right, we do have a little bit of stamping that will happen in here as well, but that doesn't need to happen quite yet. All right, we're ready to start assembling. Ta-da! All right, we're at 4 1/4 by 11. We're scored at 5 1/2, and we're going to fold and burnish that. So this card will be on my, I'm looking for my bone folder, which I'm guessing fell, let's see, I have two normally right there. Oh wait, there they are right there, I just didn't see them. All right, this card is going to be on my blog with all the cutting dimensions, all the product information. I actually made this card as part of a blog hop for the Bruno and Kylie Bertucci Demonstrator Training Program blog hop. How's that for a title? I am going to adhere this basic gray. This basic gray is 4 by 5 1/4. There's a lot of layers. Ooh, that's okay. There's a lot of layers on this card. So this is my front mat. Doggone, I'm being messy. That's all right. Gives me the opportunity to show you how I clean up a mess. So there's that. Then another layer of mat, just 1/8 of an inch smaller. Hi, Andy. You might have already said that. I might have already said hi to you, but I just now saw your hi. Good group of people on here today. I love it and I appreciate it so very much. Trying very hard to increase my viewership. If you don't have a demonstrator and you are interested in receiving a catalog, specifically the mini catalog, but I can help you out with the annual catalog as well, please let me know. Just send me a message or send me an email. I am stampwithtia@gmail.com. Or you can send me a message in Messenger or even just drop a note in this chat and I can follow up with you from there. This is a very special time during Sale-Labration. I have one of my new customers. She just had her mind blown by how much free stuff she gets during Sale-Labration. She's so excited. All right, so this piece is the gray one that I did the blending brush on. This is 2 3/8 by 3 7/8, and then the matte piece is 2 1/2 by 3 7/8. And then those are going to be adhered right here. It looks like my blending brush was a little heavier on this card than it was on this one. I'm actually okay with that because I thought this one turned out a little pale. So I am adhering these because I have so many layers. I am just adhering these flat. I am going to use dimensionals underneath the flower and underneath the thanks. And then I'm just aiming to leave a little frame over here, a little side piece. And I'm hoping to make this one a little bit more straight than I did this one. This one was actually quite crooked, and when I went to photograph it for my blog, I was embarrassed. But this one, it looks like I got considerably more straight. All right. So next, I am going to throw some dimensionals on the back of this and trying to figure out where I laid them. There they are. So I'm going to throw 4 dimensionals on here. It's a big flower. And I didn't peel anything off the back yet. I want to mess around with my placement. I think my placement on this one got a little bit high, so I want to do a better job on this one. We'll see. And then I'm going to throw a couple more dimensionals on this. and maybe one close to the So I had somebody mention that I'm always using my middle fingers for holding things down and stuff. I have arthritis in both my thumbs, and when I use my pointer fingers, that affects what my thumbs feel like. So I end up using my other fingers. In no manner am I trying to offend anybody by using that particular finger. I'm not being thoughtless. I'm being careful of my body. They're just digits to me. They're just more tools for crafting. So this is going to, so I haven't peeled any of the backs off yet, and I'm messing with my positioning. So I could do this more like, I just wasn't totally thrilled with how this card, it's okay, but I wasn't 100% thrilled with how it turned out. So I could do my thanks a little bit more like that. That would be nice. I think I just answered my own question. I could frame this up a little bit more on top of here and then let this sit more over to here. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm peeling off the backs off of my dimensionals. There are other crafters that have a similar arthritis as to the one that I just referred to. And I refuse to give up what brings me joy. So you find other ways to make it happen. So, are you a Magenta Madness lover, or do you have another pink that you love? We have several. We have Polished Pink, Melon Mambo. Let's see. Polished Pink, Melon Mambo. My brain just went blank. Magenta Madness. And then, of course, we've got the Flirty Flamingo, the Blushing Bride, the Petal Pink. Okay, for those of you that joined late, I used an adhesive sheet on the back of my detail thanks die. And all I have to do is pull that backer off, which sometimes is a little hard to get started. Especially when I can't put my head right over it. There we go. Okay. And you just gently pull that off. Now in this case, this word die is a little bit stretchy because of the font. It's not blocky, it's kind of script. So you want to be careful pulling off your backer. And let's see, I'm going to look in my camera and see, maybe I'll put a white sheet behind this thanks so that you can see what I'm doing. And I see two spots that didn't pop out yet. So let's do that. All right. Now maybe you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Maybe I can see better too. So I'm going to center this. Might be easier in my hands up close. I'm looking in the camera to see what you can see. It's funny, every time I am trying to look, I'm either receiving phone messages or texts today for some reason. All right, so I'm just centering in my shadow. I'm sure there are better ways of doing this. And I've obviously mentioned that every time I look in my phone, somebody else is sending a message. Okay. I'm going to drop that for just a second. I'm getting I'm getting tension fingers. There we go. And I hope my head is not in this video. And I'm going to try to back this off just a little bit because I'm fairly straight up to the A. It's like doing surgery. And I have no idea how many people are watching. Let's see. Okay, let's take that off of my hands. There we go. There we go. Goodness gracious. There we go. I feel like this is turning out better now. Ta-da! That looks nice on the shadow. Okay. And I'm going to take my bone folder because I put a couple wrinkles in that cardstock. And I'm just going to just kind of smooth that out. That looks good. There we go. Yay. Whew, sorry about that, y'all. I'm sure that wasn't fun to watch somebody get all tensed fingered on that. Okay. So like I said before, I wasn't 100% happy with how I positioned this flower, so I've repositioned it over here. I am going to continue to put my thanks down here and just move it off to one side a little bit. About like such. Let's see, what do I want to do next? I'm going to clean up a little bit of these pieces because I am going to be laying out a piece of ribbon and cutting it. And when I cut it, it's going to have some edges that pick things up, so I like to take care of that ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how I adhered this thanks. We're going to take care of a couple of those details before we cut that ribbon. I used, see how small this is? It's kind of hard to get dimensionals and stuff in here. I could probably get a small dimensional here and here, and then anywhere else I would probably have to cut them. And what I decided to do was use what we have called these foam adhesive strips. And they come like this, like you see here. And I'm going to pull one out so that you can see. So you see how they are strips and they run like this. Okay? I cut off a small section. Set that off to one side. And used just a few. So I placed one behind the T. I can use one of the longer ones, whoops, and one has already, a piece is already stuck to my finger. So I'm placing one behind the T, I'm going to stick them in a few places. One behind the K, I think I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I think I can put one this direction. Yep. Nope. Whoop, whoop. It's showing just a little bit. Let's try that again. I might just need to trim it slightly. That looks like that's going to work. Then I've got this little piece left over from the first one that I did, and I'm going to stick it right in here in part of the S. And it looks like I didn't. I should be using my, take my pick tool to do this. There we go. About like such. And then flip it over, and does anything show? I don't see anything. So these are the same as dimensionals, although they are, let's see if I can show you, they are thicker. So here's the thickness of a dimensional, and here's the thickness of the foam sheeting. It looks like it's about twice. And I can go ahead and pull off those backers. Yeah, I'm really excited for this party this weekend. Even though it's on Zoom, we did her party. She had a party last year. She has one every year during Celebration. This will be her third party with me. And last year we did it over Zoom. Worked great. And like I said earlier, she's now in Oklahoma. And most of her crafting peeps are still in Oregon. Well, it doesn't matter that we're having, well, it matters, but not tremendously that we're still in COVID, because we would have been doing it via Zoom anyway. All right, I'm going to tie a bow, and I don't know, I kind of think this one was a little larger than it needed to be, so I'm going to measure for the next size down. So I had measured out 1 for here, but I think it was too much. So I'm scaling it down slightly, grabbing my paper snips, which I happen to use. These I happen to use for ribbon too. Not everything, but these I do. Now that I've measured that, before I tie the bow, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I am going to cut this ribbon right down the middle. And that's going to make for a thinner bow and a slightly fluffier bow. Let's see if I can. This is an open weave ribbon, so super easy to cut down the center. Almost done. And then I will take this ribbon and tie it exactly like I would a solid piece. So start here. These bow makers are so nifty. My friend Ron makes them. He is in Kennewick, and I am going to be featuring these on my blog and selling them for him. So appreciative of that collaboration. And what am I doing here? That's something wrong in my bow making here. I just need to make a knot. There we go. Oh, maybe not. Maybe. Well, let's see how this turns out. I seem to be a little butterfingery today. All right. Yeah, that's a better looking bow. See, we're improving over my first card. And I can still put it right there, and that's going to look great. I can even put it lower. Now I like it higher. All right, so mini glue dot. I had a question during one of my last lives about whether or not these mini glue dots are strong. They're very strong. In another minute, if I were to try to pull this bow off of that mini glue dot, it would tear the paper. So it is very strong. I'm going to go ahead and trim. Man, I don't have good grip on anything today. Couple of different lengths here. There we go. Now I'm going to throw some gems on. We're almost to the inside of the card. So the gems that I'm going to use are the 2021-2023 in color jewels. And in here, in this pack, we have polished pink, pale papaya, evening evergreen, fresh freesia, and soft succulent. I'm going to use the soft succulent for the center in the flower, and then I'm going to use this polished pink, which I think goes really well with the Magenta Madness around the flower. I'm going to use my Take My Pick tool. I'm going to use the clay end of my Take My Pick tool to pick up some gems and place them around this flower. Let's see. I am just barely setting them there. In case I don't like it, I can pick them up and move them around a little bit. I'm going to use 3 of the small soft succulents in the center of the flower. Okay, so now I can see, I can move this aside. These are the inside of my card, which we haven't done yet. So now, let's see, I do kind of like having this one here. Let's see. I like having something on the solid gray. Okay, I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to move to the inside of the card. Everybody has their own idea of where the gems should go and how many to use. I don't feel bad that I just used 6. Normally you would use an odd number, but I used 2 different colors, and so you see 3 of one and 3 of the other, so that's why I'm doing it that way. So now this will be a mat on the inside, and this will be where we would put a message on the inside. So I'm going to, and they should be cut so that there is an 1/8, yep. So there is an 1/8 of an inch difference in their dimensions, and when it is centered, there's a 1/16 of an inch perimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp a little design on the inside of this. Now sometimes on the inside I will do a stamp off so that it's a little bit more subtle. In this case, this is such a bright card, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to keep it nice and poppy. Real bright. Let's see. So I could use this little flower arrangement. And then there's the accent for that. I think that is what I'm going to do. And my block is right here. Like I said, the one block takes care of everything this time. Normally I pre-mount everything. I am not going to stamp this entire image on here. I'm just going to stamp part of it. So I am going to throw a piece of, somewhere there, I was going to say, I know I've got some scrap paper. So I'm going to back that so I don't get ink on my piercing mat. I'm using Magenta Madness first, just like I did with the flowers on the front. And because I've got the clear block, I can see how I want to line up my flowers. Oh, I love these flowers so much. I love this color. I wish it wasn't retiring. Then I'm going to set this aside. This that adds the secondary color, of which I'm using Melon Mambo. And I can use that actually on all 3 of these flowers, and it'll just look a little different on each one. There we go. So now I am done stamping. I think we've made great improvement on this card from my first sample card to this card. Whoops. Put my mat away. So let's adhere this down. I love this art gallery set. think it's a great one for people to learn with because it is photopolymer. You can see how to do some aligning and such. So do you have a favorite item that you've seen in the Celebration catalog yet? Do you have something that you've used and that you're absolutely in love with, or do you have anything that you've seen and you're putting together a wish list to make a purchase? I just got through, let's see, I love the Daffodil Afternoon paper, like love it a ton, on my third pack of it. I love the, I think it's called Rainbows and Sunshine. It's the rainbow paper. It is some of the happiest paper. There we go. My friends, we have finished the card, and I think we've made a vast improvement over my sample card. I had originally envisioned doing like 2 or 3 stems of flowers, and then realized I had too much going on. So that's why this one ended up in kind of an odd position. Well, there we are. Oh, thank you, Carla. Oh my gosh, Carla, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling okay. We've been praying for you so much. Oh. Yep, we've definitely been praying for you to recuperate quickly. Don't want to say too much more than that, but you've been in our thoughts and prayers. Oh yeah, the flowering tulips and the grassy set out of the new mini catalog. Out of this set, yeah, gorgeous, right? I haven't got to play with that yet. Not yet. I'm working up the gumption to play with these otters. Let's see, where are they? Right here. I haven't done it yet. Everybody seems to love them. I want to play with everything else first. They're cute, but they haven't been my first option. I think the next one that I am going to do is this this driving by. I love these cars. I love the balloons. I love the packages. I love the greetings that they have on here. I just think it's so flippin' cute. Okay, my friends, that is a wrap for today. I thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you all so very much. I hope that you all stay safe and be well. Take care of each other. Know that I love you, and biggest of hugs.